Dan, why don't you tell me a little bit about the 4 liter challenge, the genesis of this, what it's all about, and how you got involved?
Sure. Well, 4 liters is a challenge. The 4 liter challenge is coming out from DigDeep. DigDeep is started by a guy named George McGraw, and George had this idea of what are ways for people to experience some of the things that are going on in the world today. And so instead of looking at nonprofits, tend to look at people in a haves and a haves not kind of scenario of like these people have things, so I need to talk to them so then I can bring it to the have-nots, and that's what makes the world better. And that does help. Don't get me wrong, but Dig Deep works a little different. They're an NGO that wants to really bring solidarity that to people across thousands of miles. So the average person, there are not the average, but there are 800 million people who live on 4 liters of water or less. And so the idea is, as Americans, we aren't even conscious of the idea of water poverty in any capacity. We use about 550 liters of water per day. So the idea is for 2 to 5 days for people to take up solidarity and live in water poverty and experience it for 2 to 5 days. So live on just 4 liters of water. And so next week it kicks off on the 14th, and I'm super excited to live on 4 liters for 5 days. It's gonna be crazy.
You're gonna try it yourself?
Yeah.
And
Oh
that
yeah.
4 liters is for everything: cooking, drinking, bathing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you have to make choices every day. There are choices that have to be made. It's kind of like Oregon Trail come to
Uh-huh.
real life, right? So
Hmm.
there are choices and things like coffee. I enjoy probably about 24 ounces of coffee every day, and
Hmm.
so that's a lot if I'm going to factor that into 4 liters, and that has and still factoring in things like even sponge bath showers and
Yeah.
washing dishes and just a whole lot. So it's just a lot to figure out. And it was really interesting. This week we had was the influencer week, so we had celebrities and actors and actresses out here in LA, and people who've got great networks, and they actually started it, and it was wild. Even the things that they were dealing with of just what are making those choices and then being vocal about it at the same
Yeah.
time. So it was really fun. It's been really fun to watch it, which has been really great. I'm a little tired because we had our launch party last night, which was super fun. So down here in downtown LA, and big party, big spread, and it was really fun. Uh, and the water flowed like water. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Knowing full well next week it won't be the same.
It won't be the same. Now, I know that when you work with organizations and businesses, one of your big areas is video. And there are a number of videos that have been used to promote this campaign. And what I find interesting about it is very often when nonprofits or organizations deal with important causes and serious causes, they try to tug on your emotions, and you show the people who are unhappy and whatever. And yet these videos that you put together, that you worked on with the organization, are pretty funny. You're using humor. Talk about your approach there.
Well, I don't really tend to work with any clients that deal with the issue of guilt. It's something we talk about right off the bat because I don't think it's very effective. I think it does work, but I don't like it. I don't want to go for the cheap win. I want
Yeah.
to develop relationships. I don't think if in micro version, if I were to come talk to you and make you feel bad, you may help me out for what I'm doing, but that's as a result of your character. It has nothing to do with the pitch that I just gave. Whereas something that's a more upbeat, we can develop a relationship, and we're hanging out for years to come, and that's the kind of idea that I come from. The fun part about Dig Deep is that these guys are just like they're so cutting edge. This is a company run by millennials, so this is a really young, very hip, understand video. Don't have to have I didn't have to have those conversations, and the premise of even the marketing had already been thought about quite a bit. So we just got together in terms of figuring out how it's actually going to come together. So the main 4-liter challenge video was a great thing. It was written by Max Lim and actually George McGraw, who is the executive director. And we just kind of came together and figured out what that could look like, and then enlisted a whole bunch of friends, essentially, of the organization. It stars David Henry. He was on a show, Wizards of Waverly Place, and also How I Met Your Mother, and he's doing, he was just in Grown Ups 2, and he's got some other stuff coming out with Kevin James, and he donated his time, and Drake Bell did the voiceover, and he's super busy with Ultimate Spider-Man, and he's doing Fairly Odd Parents and some other stuff, and so he's just super busy, and so both of these guys were very kind to lend their talents, and I think it turned out pretty well, and we
It's a very funny video, and for the people that you're targeting, I mean, you're clearly targeting a younger generation. That type of humor, definitely fits in when you look at the types of television shows that they're watching. Everything from Arrested Development to Jon Stewart, and shows like that. It fits in perfectly, and I think that sense of irony and humor really probably works better than any other approach with that generation.
Well, thanks. I mean, I think you're exactly right. I think that I'm more likely to start up not only a conversation but have some laughs and learn about each other through laughing, instead of and talking about serious things. The funny part to me is that when people talk about Jon Stewart, they always go, "Oh, it's comedian," but it's like there's a lot of humanity in that. Like,
oh yeah,
especially like even this week, he had the woman on from Malala. Is that
yes?
Fantastic! Like there's so much humanity in that, and it's that's a comedy show, and it's like that's a super real interview, and that was really great. So
yeah, it's incredible that and it's a generation that's very activist oriented as well. I mean, really looking to do something. And change. In terms of the 4-liter challenge, as people go through the week, what's the pitch? How are you trying to get people involved? What groups are you trying to get involved?
Well, we have actually. There's a lot of different groups that have been signed on. It's been companies that are really concerned about the environment, and so they've got a certain sustainability. So they whether they're worried about sustainability in their business model, or they're worried about we talked with different companies about what it would look like for them to use less water and to get more green, and have that factor in. Another big group has been, other than people in their 20s and 30s who are up for the challenge and kind of Spartan run of water. I don't know. That's about the only way I can really think of 4 liters. It's like it's not for everybody, but if you do it, you're not going to think about water the same anymore. The other big thing is teachers. Now, the neat thing that happened is this past spring, a couple different teachers they created curriculum around the idea of water poverty and introduced water poverty to students as math problems. Okay, so you have this much time in your life, as an economic problem, and you have to kind of figure out like what I'm hearing, and I'm not an expert, but what I've been told is that if there's a water shortage, you're dealing with ladies are walking 3 to 4 hours a day just to get water for their family. Yes. So 3 to 4 hours. Now, the craziest part is you put a well in that same town. All of a sudden, these ladies have 3 to 4 hours of time additional, and they stabilize a village. They start to stabilize, and the girls, their daughters, start to go to school and stuff like So it's just this huge manifold solution that starts happening. So as a result, these classes were learning about all of these things, and they actually created 12 different volumes that are Common Core aligned, so that they work universally within all of our school system. They can be used by math teachers, science teachers, economics. There's even a religion piece, because you can talk about this in a religious sense, because some, depending on village pieces, and I'm not 100%, again, not an expert, but there's a lot of different ways to come at this issue. So they talk about it, and then they encourage the students to go through the 4-liter challenge. So there were classes that went through it this spring, and they actually documented their time. They used the website, they logged in, and they were all challenged, and it was wild because even peer to peer, that's what's been really fun. Even this week with our influencers, peer to peer, there's this commiseration that happens, and
Hmm.
then just a lot of talking that's going on. And I think that's really great in terms of campaign piece. Yeah, that does it. Is that directly connected to donations? Maybe, maybe not. But
Hmm.
the education that's happening is huge. I think the education is the first piece to then build to donors.
Yeah, and getting people more involved. When you talk about people logging online, what is it then? If I sign up, what is it? What's the experience that I would go through online in terms of resources available to me, in terms of accountability? Ways that I can log what I'm doing.
Sure.
What
Well,
what
so
is there?
so you go to forleaders.org and you sign up, and you can log in with the Facebook, button. We've got the one click there, or you can just, sign up manually. It's totally up to you. Then anytime you can attach things like your Instagram account and your Twitter account, and you can just it walks you through that. And then when you use the 4 leader hashtag, which is just hashtag 4 the number and then leaders, it will actually pull in your different tweets and Instagram pictures and video into this feed that happens, and you can promote that to check out. I'm on 4 leaders right now, so anything you're talking about that has to do with 4 leaders is in this one spot. Now, in terms of additional resources, there's a resources tab. You can go there. There's Facebook cover photos. There's Twitter backgrounds. There's Instagram pictures that you can take and look, and it's just really wild. I mean, even just some of the pieces that, and again, I'm not that guy. I George McGraw had this in his head. Some of the slogan kind of pieces of like, you've walked a while in their shoes, now drink their water. Like that's because building on things like Tom's, which is great that people they one day without shoes is fantastic, but water is actually more crucial than shoes.
Hmm.
I mean, not that I
Yeah,
think anybody should be without either, but
correct.
it's water is everything. It really is everything. It changes massive. It changes everybody super fast. So additional resources. The wild part is you can build a team actually. So we have some companies that are doing it. Like there's my favorite coffee place here in town is going through, and all of their team has signed up. All of their baristas have signed up, and they're going to live on 4 leaders. And so they've got a communal page where it pulls in all of their team stuff, and so they can all see it really quickly about what everybody's going through. And we've actually just built a full stream that's actually everyone that's going through it at the same time. And do that. So resources there's just a lot to take in that essentially just share. I mean, it's really more about the experience because if you go through it and you talk about it and you're posting a video about living on 4 liters of water in one day, you're going to have a lot to say at the end of that day because experientially you have a lot that and then contextually we now factor that this isn't just an experiment for a day or two. This is your life, and it immediately changes worldview, and it's pretty neat.
And I think what's going to happen, I'm thinking about what would happen if I were to go through this, and I'm still debating. I want to do it. I think we take it so much for granted that it's going to be a lot of those wait a minute moments where you go and you reach for something and it's like, oh, that uses water. Oh, I can't do that without water. I'm thinking about doing laundry. I'm thinking about showering and, washing my hair and, let alone the food and drink component of that, like the coffee you said. 4 liters isn't a whole lot of water. And, for one person to use that, it will be very eye opening. One of the big things with something like this is, years ago we did it was called Let It Growl, the 24-hour famine thing. And, you would go a day without, youth groups and stuff would do that as a way of just sort of identifying it. But it's like at the end, well, then I can pig out. At the end, I know I can go take a nice shower and whatever. I've got that water. How do you take this, short 1, 2, 3, whatever day experience and make it last for people so that they remember what it was and they fully understand, as opposed to just moving on like, oh, I did it. I did my good thing.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that we're doing is we're doing a lot of talking afterwards about ways that this is a bigger deal than just a couple of days. But one of the things we're finding, even last night, there was a woman. She runs a website called Kirsty TV, and she went through the challenge earlier in the week, and then so she wasn't on the challenge, but she's still thinking about it. So she's still talking about it because, yeah, oh my goodness, well, I can just jump in the shower right now, and it was something
Yeah.
that she couldn't do a couple days ago, and so it kind of sticks with you, and that's what's really neat. And so through the community that's really come up, they're raising issues together, and then we're talking about it in posts, through emails, through blog posts, and through additional media pieces that we'd create, of what people are doing. It's been really wild. So I think it's to have something that isn't so one dimensional, because it is
Mhm.
kind of one dimensional. You do it, I do it, it's fine. Then the
Yeah.
second dimension over the top is the community piece back and forth, and the media that we're actually creating. I mean, because we create so much media every day, and just silly little Instagram funny things or Vine posts or anything. I am constantly updating my Facebook with something silly and that I find. So together we're learning more about where it's at for water poverty, and it's such a rough issue because we have no concept for what water poverty is at 550 liters. How can we even comprehend four? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't really mesh. So it's a big step, even just the awareness piece, because it's not something uh, that we're used to talking about.
What are the ultimate goals in this campaign, financial or otherwise?
Well, I think the awareness piece is actually first, because again, water poverty is such a big deal. And with there's several other water charities or nonprofit organizations that are dealing with the issue of water, which is great. You know, donations don't hurt any nonprofit at any time. And so as we head into the fall here, or into the fourth quarter, the awareness, you know, should build to more people getting connected with the organization, and really thinking. I'm not a big fan of saying thinking outside the box, but this really is a different kind of challenger, kind of piece that isn't so flat. It's not a newsletter. It's not a catchy video. It's got a catchy video, but it's not just a catchy video. It's not a straight campaign that's like, yeah, and then mail us back your nickel or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those terrible campaigns. So awareness is first. Donations don't hurt is what I'd say. Is that we want to get a lot of people connected, and we're really trying to build even the resources that the teachers. We've seen teachers grab onto this here in town. The Educators for Excellence, and we've got even some of the crew at the Common Core are starting to look at the piece and get it 100% certified. And we just want to get people connected to it, because I know if I get a whole bunch of, if I was in high school and I experienced this, I would think about it.
Mhm.
I think about when we did economics and I had to figure out how to pay rent and do this other thing, and you go through that and your mind shifts. It changes your brain. You start going, this is the way the world works. Well, I think this is kind of there as well.
So we're talking, it's 4leaders.org, and head over there, watch the videos, sign up, and just check out some of the resources, and hopefully we get a lot of people signed up.
That would be great.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan.
They can see you.